As Scott mentioned, if one of the important things, if we can't get traffic come in and out of the site safely, then really we failed. And when we first came to the project, working with the Foxwoods folks and the development team, we established some guiding principles on how we were going to try and figure out this access management problem. And those guiding principles include safe and efficient access to the resort, minimizing traffic impacts on the local roads, providing traffic benefits if we can on the local roads, and we have to meet the requirements of the Federal Highway Administration and the Mass DOT. Those two agencies control the jurisdiction of Route 495, and our goal is to get as much traffic off of 495 directly to the site as possible, so we have to work with the requirements that they set forth for us. Now, tonight, I want to try and answer three fundamental questions I'm sure most of the people in the room have. One, how much traffic will come to the resort? Two, where are they going to come from? And three, how will we get them there? So let's start with the amount of traffic. The table you see up here represents the traffic estimates we developed for phase one of the project. And as Scott mentioned, that was about 4,250 slot machines and some gaming tables. These estimates that you see in the table represent trips coming to and from the resort site. So whatever you see in terms of actual numbers, it's half of that is arriving and half of that's departing. These numbers are generated based on the number of gaming stations. So that's a combination of slots and seats at gaming tables. This is a requirement the state DOT has laid out for us, that we should use gaming stations to generate traffic. So for phase one, the combination of slots and gaming tables is about 5,100 gaming positions. These traffic numbers that I'm showing you also include all traffic. When I say that, what I mean is employees, guests, deliveries, trucks, anything coming to and from the site is included in these numbers. So I want to point out a couple of items, I want to highlight a couple numbers for you. First of all, maybe no surprise that Saturday is the highest day of the week for the resort. And the Saturday peak, which occurs from 5 to 6 p.m., is also the highest hour of the week. The second highest, though, is Fridays, and particularly Friday evening as people come to the resort for the weekend. So that's 7 or 8 p.m. The good news about those numbers, particularly the peak hour numbers, which really kind of dictates how traffic will operate, is the 5 to 6 p.m. on a Saturday, traffic on 495 is much less that time than it is during the work week. And on Friday evening, 7 to 8 p.m. is after the p.m. peak hour. So the volume you're seeing here on this table are the volumes associated with phase one plus phase two. And that's a total number of gaming stations of about 6,800. The fact that this resort is going to be developed in phases presents a unique opportunity. Once phase one is complete, we will begin monitoring traffic immediately, and we'll find out what the issues are, and we will also be able to better project what phase two development will have in terms of traffic volumes. This is something that Foxwoods does down in Connecticut, and actually the numbers from the Connecticut facility were the basis of our projections that you're seeing here tonight. So where will they come from? We developed an analytical tool that's called a population gravity model. We looked at all the cities and towns that are in a 60-mile drive radius of Milford. And within that 60-mile drive radius are 274 cities and towns and about 4.9 million people in population. So that's what we're calling the catchment area. We gave special treatment to the communities within a 30-mile drive radius because people who live within that 30-minute drive radius are more apt to come to the resort. So those towns were given a higher weight, and we're doing our analysis. We also factored in the other casinos that are either existing or will more likely to be in place when this license is granted to the Milford site. And that includes the two existing casinos in Connecticut, one in Western Mass, and one in Southeastern Mass, and then Twin Rivers in Rhode Island. So Communities that are close to those casinos, there was a deterrent factor, if you will, that factored down the amount of people who might come to this particular site. So, and to get you oriented, just so you'll see, this is Milford right here. So in that model, what are we estimating? About 68% of the traffic will come from north on 495, the Mass Pike. 24% from the south on 495. That gives us at least a total of 92% of all the traffic coming to and from the site will be on 495, not local roads. 1% from Route 16 from the west. 2% on Route 16 from the east. 3% from Route 109 from the east. 1% on Route 85, and 1% local traffic in Milford. So how will we get them there? We are proposing to construct a ramp system called a collector-distributor road ramp system. And that, one way to think about that is it's like a high-speed frontage road. And what it does is collector-distributor roads or frontage roads connect closely spaced interchanges on an interstate. So a good example of what we have up here is the exit 11 and 12 in Mansfield for Route 140 and 140 north and south, down by the Comcast Entertainment Center. So you can see that the CD road is built on the outside of the main line 495. So that's the approach we're going to take in Milford. And I have a diagram to illustrate how that will work if you're not familiar with the interchange and the CD road system down in Mansfield. So this little sketch represents the way the ramps work today at 495. And so here's 495 north and south, Route 85, Route 16, no ramps, and Route 109. So today, if I'm going to use Route 85, I'm going to use Route 85 as an example. So if you're coming on and off Route 85, you do it directly onto 495. With a CD road system, you go on the CD road first and then go to the ramp. The ramps will stay where they are today. Same with you getting on. You get onto the CD road, you travel along, it's high speed, then you get on the highway at the end. Now how these sketches translate to real world for Milford, we're going to put those CD roads schematically on an aerial photograph for you, and I'll get you oriented first. Here's 495. North is in this direction. So here's exit 20, Route 85, exit 19, 109. And this shaded area here is Route 16. The site is here. So we were to construct a southbound CD road on the exterior of 495, connecting exit 20 and 19. And build a CD road on the north side of 495, connecting exit 20 and 19. We would build ramps near the site that would take the drivers going to the resort up to a higher level, cross over 495 into what we're calling the Route 16 connector road, and then connect down to Route 16. From that connector road, there would be driveway and access roads to the proposed resort area. Now, you may ask, why are you going through all the trouble of building CD roads? Sounds expensive. Why don't you just build a ramp system right there? This gets back to one of our four guiding principles, and that's meet the requirements of Federal Highway Administration. They have a minimum spacing requirement on interstates, and right now the Route 85 and Route 109 interchanges are only 1.9 miles apart. That's actually substandard according to Federal Highway. They're looking for 3-mile spacing on rural interstates. So trying to squeeze a third interchange in was not possible. And the direction we got from Federal Highway Administration was to tie the interchanges together with a CD road, so there's basically one off and one on ramp rather than introducing a third on and off ramp in a short distance. This is their perspective on maintaining the capacity integrity on the interstate system for 495 itself. So that is why we have the CD road system rather than a ramp directly to the site. You may also ask, well, why are you connecting Route 16? Is that necessary? It's necessary, again, for a Federal Highway Administration requirement. We cannot connect a highway ramp system directly to a land development site. It has to tie into a local road or public way. and that public way would be Route 16. So if you're traveling in the future on the CD road, you want to get off on Route 85 or 109, these blue arrows show you how you would, this is in the, I'm giving an example in the southbound direction. You just get off into the CD road, you can exit either 85, you could go to 16, or to 109. In a northbound direction, it's similar. You exit from 495 to the CD road, you get off an existing ramp that's there today, and that's no different on 109. You have an option to go to Route 16 or 85 from that same system. Now, for vehicles traveling to and from the resort, and this is the example from the north on 495, to go onto the CD roads, over the bridge, and directly into the resort, never going on local roads. And from the south, the same thing. Traffic would get off the CD road, stay on the CD road to the ramp, turn right onto the Route 16 connector, then into the site. Traffic exiting the resort, identical. Comes out, takes a right, this is northbound traffic, takes a right onto the CD road, travels along the CD road, and then onto 495 northbound. And again, the same thing for southbound. Again, so traffic accessing and egressing the site, other than local traffic, does not have to be on local roads, and this is at least 92% of the traffic. So, two of the guiding principles we had is, if you recall, was not to have an impact on local roadways. So we think the CD road system does that. We also wanted to provide a benefit, if we could, to local roads. So I'm going to walk through a few graphics here that show you how we've achieved that and how we've minimized the impacts on local roadways. So just to get you oriented, this green is 495 and the site's here. And we have, as part of our work, has conducted a traffic study that looked at 16 critical intersections in town along 16, 109, and 85 that would provide potential access to the site. And so what we found in our study with the CD road option, and I'll give you just a few examples. I'm not going to run through all 16. So these are sort of the key ones that we found. The first one is the intersection of Route 16, that should say Route 85, Fortune Boulevard and Diller Street. So today there's about 32, this is the Friday afternoon peak. There's about 3,200 cars going through that intersection. And you all know that, as we all know, that intersection does not function all that well. So this project would only add, because we have so much traffic coming from 495, only 13 cars that are casino related, or about 0.4%. At the intersection of Fortune Boulevard, Beaver, and Route 16, it's about, we anticipate about 38 cars being added during the peak hour, and that's 1.5%. 38 cars at 16 and 109, again, 2% increase at that intersection. Route 16 and 85, about a little bit less than 40 cars, 1.8% increase. And Route 16 and 140 on the west side of town, only about 26 new cars because related to the casino, and about 1.2% increase.